Well, we're now going to look at a better move than knight takes f7, which is to play d4. So we've got e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, knight comes to g5, and black plays d5, takes, and now instead of this move, knight takes f7, Leonard Barden in this game, then against Weaver Adams, Hastings 1950, plays this move, d4, just opening the game up and keeping any knight takes f7 ideas in reserve. And this move is actually far more poisonous, and I think it's by far the preferable move, and we're going to see in this game that white really gets a pretty overwhelming position quite quickly. So after d4, black does something quite clever. He plays bishop b4 check, and this is to drive white's pawn to c3 before coming back here. Now the point of this is that when white plunges in with knight takes f7, which he should indeed do, then after king takes, queen here check, king here, white cannot play knight out to c3 because he's already put a pawn there. So that was the point behind bishop b4 check. A clever idea, but it's still going to be very good for white, as we're about to see. Well, white now plays this move, queen e4, just leaving black's king to think about what he's going to do next. And notice that with the bishop on e7 and this b4 square covered by white's pawn on c3, that black has no longer got this defense or this defense for his knight on d5. So he's really in a bit of a pickle, you know, because he's got this problem of how to unpin. And if he goes anywhere with his king, say to here, then white's going to take this knight off check, or if he goes this way, then still the knight falls. So he's in a nasty pin and needs to find a way out of it. Meanwhile, white is going to be playing f4 and to get a second pawn for his piece, and to leave black's king right out in the middle of the board, wind in his hair, in all sorts of danger for some time to come. And well, black in this game decides to make room for this knight on c6 by playing his bishop to f8. Now, it's difficult to believe that that move can be the best, but in any case, white's going to get very good compensation. Now, it's possible that black may consider a move such as the move b5 that we had something similar into in the Van der Laarse Mayet game, and then white can play bishop takes b5, and now again white gets two pawns, ongoing problems for black's king. I personally would prefer to be white, although b5 may be better than what Weaver Adams played. Another possibility might be to go, say, queen up to d6, but then I should think that f4 will be very strong. So there are things black can try, but his problems remain. He's got a very exposed king, and he's still got the problem about how to break this very unpleasant pin on his knight on d5. So Weaver Adams played bishop to f8, and now white simply castled. And black's idea, of course, is to come back here, but then white plays f4, and he's going to get a second pawn for the piece, and also it's going to be a center pawn. So after c6, f takes e5, white has got these two guys for the piece, which is you know, very good compensation in itself, and black's king is in the middle. And the issue for black will be if white actually manages to advance these pawns. At the moment they're kind of blockaded by the knight on d5, but that's soon going to change, as we'll see. Okay, well, black tries to get his king away to safety, and now white plays this very good move, bishop e2, and his idea is to play c4 and later d5 and get these pawns backed up with all of his pieces, and then just have them advance forward. And this is an immensely strong plan, as we're going to see. So black gets his king away again, but it's only back to the square it started from, king to e8, and white starts to roll the pawns forward with the move c4. Black goes knight back to c7. White plays knight c3. Black plays his bishop out to e6, trying to hold up d5. Now white brings his bishop out here, pinning this knight against the queen, renewing the idea of d5. Black goes queen d7, and now we have rook a to d1. Of course, black would love to be able to castle in this situation and get his king out of the way, but his king's already moved so many times. You know, just the arbiter would stop him if he tried that. So rook a d1. It's got the idea of d5, and I really don't see what black's going to be able to do about this. He played this move, rook c8, which is really quite a sort of forlorn-looking attempt to get an open c-file when white plays the pawn onto d5. But this is absolutely awful. I mean, white just takes off on e7 now, and black recaptures with the queen. Pawn comes on to d5, and black plays queen c5 check. King goes away, king h1. Black takes on d5, white recaptures. Bishop comes back to the d7 square. White goes on, e6. And black brings his bishop out to b5. And white now goes queen f4. So then if bishop takes e2, there's a mate like this, check, and mate here. So after queen f4, black played his king to d8 in anticipation of that idea. And now white took on b5, knight recaptured, knight takes, queen takes, and now white played this simple move. And these two pawns, of course, mean that black is totally and absolutely lost. There's a huge number of threats here. I think black could really have, or black saved himself further agony by just resigning in this position. You know, who can blame him? The problems really for black in this position, I think, are so great that I, for one, would not want to touch this position with a barge pole. You know, he's going to end up with having to give up several pawns, say with b5 or something, and you know, just to try and get out of this horrible pin on the knight. And white is going to end up with more than enough compensation. So I think in conclusion we can say that this move 6d4 is a much more convincing way for white to play it than the famous fried liver. This move knight takes f7. It's being studied by juniors around the world, you know, in the hope of being able to attack black's centralized king like this, queen f3 check, king e6. But the position is far from clear, and you know, I think that if they knew about d4, then you know, that they should really prefer this move instead.